Welcome back to the Adventures of the Monad, which will look at life, the universe, and everything. My name is Kazim Kamal-ul-Rahim. In this series, I ask the question, where do we come from, who are we, and where are we going? I post one presentation a week. Please subscribe to my website and hit the bell icon for notification of future videos. You can also leave comments and join in forum discussions on my website. We have started our journey to look into the expansive topic of good and evil. In the last presentation, we looked at how society perceives what it deems to be good or evil and how this changes over time. In an endeavor to bring the concepts of good and evil into an objective framework, I outlined 3 different instigators that could be determined as being evil. The last of these was the black magician. Today, I wish to continue this discussion further. So what exactly is a black magician? Do they have to take a course, get a certificate, maybe belong to a club? The definition I wish to stick to is that the black magician is a human monad that has renounced their evolution and their humanity at the same time. How do you go about renouncing your humanity? To answer that question, you have to answer the question, what makes us human in the first place? Any ideas? What differentiates a human being from an animal? Both levels of evolution have a mental body. You may say that human mental bodies are more active than animal ones. Judging by the behavior of some humans, I'm not sure that is even true. What makes a human is the possession of a causal body. This was a gift from our friends the Solar Divas. Being given this body in a single hit allowed us to immediately begin storing our memories in a way that rapidly facilitated our evolution. On the moon chain, we had to painstakingly build these bodies themselves. It takes a long time. I know I have digressed into my favorite topic of chains, globes, and rounds. I just can't help it. I'm a natural-born historian. To know where you are now and what could possibly happen in the future, you need to know where you have been and what happened there. Hence, my fascination with the previous incarnations of our globe. We now agree that to have a human body is to have a causal body, and traditionally this structure has been designated the title of soul. So, we have a soul. This soul is not us. We are the monad embedded in the 43-1 atom, remember. Nevertheless, the possession of this envelope is what defines us at the present. When I say a black magician has renounced their humanity, I'm saying that they have severed their connection with their soul. How do they achieve this? When a soul walks the left-hand path, they have reached a level of evolution that can be described as 666. They are now highly intelligent and capable monads. Unfortunately, they have contaminated their lower causal body to such an extent that their guardian angel cannot allow them to reunify with their higher causal body, their soul, if you will. The process is completed when the black magician renounces their own evolution and their humanity by making it clear to their guardian angel that they no longer require their services. A symbiotic relationship that has existed for over 16 million years is terminated. The guardian angel has no option but to respect the right to free will of the monad. This is an immutable law. Disrespect it at your peril. The only option now open to the guardian angels, all 13 of them, is to dissolve the causal body, the one that has been painstakingly constructed over millions of years. The black magician is no longer a member of the human kingdom. It has effectively returned to the animal kingdom. Why? because it no longer has a causal body. Now, do you get where the title The Beast comes from? There is a point of view that the book of Revelations is just a collection of unintelligible mumbo-jumbo. A lot of it is. But buried within its passages, there are nuggets of information that some, studying esoteric lore, can decode accurately. So please stop looking at your scalp in the mirror to see if you have the number 666 tattooed somewhere. When you get to the exalted rank of 666, just make sure you do not turn left. Having destroyed their higher causal body, the black magician has a problem. It can no longer incarnate into the human kingdom. Despite the best intentions of Hollywood to imply that this is possible, it simply is not. I will explain further. They cannot incarnate into the animal kingdom either, as they no longer have a group soul. Boo-hoo. What to do? Well, black magicians can actually manifest for short periods of time on the physical plane. To do this, they need devotees incarnated on the physical plane to provide sufficient negative energy for them to do so. Where does this energy come from? It materializes when satanic rituals and sacrifices are carried out. If elemental activity is generated when someone is terrified, you can take that negative matter and mold it into a shape and use it to materialize. This raises an uncomfortable question. Why do so many religions require blood sacrifices? Even today this occurs. In the past, there was a production line of slaughter that was carried out daily on altars to somehow feed God or gods. What god would need feeding? I hope you now realize that no god does. Only a black magician does. Now go back and ask the uncomfortable question. Who are these religions worshipping? Come to think of it, why do they need to worship any entity at all? I answered this question in my last presentation. So, a gathering of demented buffoons has generated a lot of negative energy. The energy on the etheric subplanes can be temporarily formed into an etheric body that is visible. I mentioned this when I talked about the modus operandi of some mediums. It is even possible to solidify this negative energy into solid matter. This is only temporary, fortunately. Another option for a black magician to gain access back into the physical world is to temporarily possess the physical etheric body of a sleeping or inebriated person. They do this to satisfy their carnal desires. They can even temporarily possess the physical etheric body of animals to terrorize or prey on humans. I wonder if this is why some big cats suddenly become man-eaters. I am not saying that this is the explanation. I am just suggesting it could be an explanation. The black magician is unable to reincarnate for the reasons already stated. That cycle no longer has any meaning or value for it. This affords them the opportunity to live in the subtle worlds, the etheric, the emotional, and the mental, for billions of years. To do this, they just have to keep gaining access to negative sources of energy. We, as humanity, happily supply them with it. However, all bad things must come to an end. When the solar system finishes its own cycle of incarnation, there is a reckoning to be had. I discuss what this is shortly. Let's go back to how the black magicians sustain themselves. They must steal energy from others to prevent their bodies from decaying. Why? Because when they severed their connection to their causal bodies, they also severed the life thread that supplies energy to all life. This energy comes from the source. It is free. The only thing you have to do to receive it is to obey the law. Telling your guardian angel to bugger off is deemed to be a serious offense, punishable by... We will get to that in a moment. Most of the energy the black magician needs comes from their satanic followers, but they can also deceive and manipulate anyone. This includes religious, spiritual, and New Age people. That may come as a shock to some. Surely, if you are sitting there meditating deeply and communicating to the elders of Epsilon 5, who are telling you how to live your life, there cannot be any harm in that. Think again. And if you want to know why, review my previous presentations on the matter. In examining the sad story of these misguided individuals, you are left wondering, why do they do this in the first place? It is not because they are stupid. Remember, they have achieved the 666. It is not because they are ignorant. They know exactly what they are doing, or they could not have achieved their ends. No. The black magician walks a left-hand path because they believe it to be a shortcut for them becoming gods. Yes, bizarre as it may seem, they actually believe they can acquire godlike powers. Of course, this is all based on a focus on themselves and their egos, but that is precisely what leads to the left-hand path in the first place. Unbridled ego and selfishness. History is littered with these fools. If you are not a god, what is the next best thing in the subtle worlds where you dwell? You abuse your power and mislead humans into believing you are a god or a spiritual master. This is why I continually rail against walking around the emotional plane unchaperoned. A black magician has a 5-dimensional body. This allows them to perform miracles on the emotional plane, which is 4-dimensional, and the physical etheric plane, which is 3-dimensional. Remember, an individual only becomes a black magician when they are at the 4 compassionate level of consciousness. At this stage, they are very close to enlightenment. Rather than joining the collective consciousness of the causal plane and becoming an accepted disciple of a master, they choose to live on the emotional plane. Here, they can fully express their individuality and abuse their power to suit their own purposes. It is mainly humans of the first ray type, the ray of willpower, that become black magicians. The first ray type is a naturally powerful and strong-willed individual. When they decide to walk the left-hand path, their selfishness and hatred becomes unimaginable. They completely distort the makeup of their subtle bodies, and they only know how to use the destructive aspects of their will. They have become completely devoid of love and compassion. Aspiring black magicians vitalize the chakras of their etheric, emotional, and mental bodies. They aim to develop mastery of the energies they find in these bodies. It should be noted that causal consciousness remains inaccessible to them. They have not taken the I3. They are fully functional in their mental bodies. All 4 molecular levels are active. They are objectively conscious here. They can now use their mental energies to control mental, emotional, and etheric matter. When a monad reaches enlightenment I3, and those monads who have progressed further, they have all the abilities the black magician has. In addition, they have access to and the ability to use causal energy to control physical matter. For this reason, such individuals are often referred to as white magicians. What is the difference between the two groups of magicians? The white magician only uses evolutionary. By that I mean ascending energies. Black magicians only use involutionary or descending energies. Now, we all know about those pesky elemental essences. They may not be able to do anything themselves, but put an idea into their bonnets and they will happily cause havoc. Evolutionary energies are found associated with tertiary matter, which itself is now ascending on its evolutionary journey back to the source. In esoteric literature, you find mention of the wars in heaven. What is this referring to? Apparently, the planetary hierarchy, for this read the 5th and 6th kingdoms, banished the black magicians from the mental world. Their activities are now limited to the emotional and physical etheric worlds. This may allow the hierarchy to sleep better at night, but it is of little comfort to us. This is why I point out to you that you have to be very careful who you talk to on the emotional plane. The neighborhood may be a lot rougher than you think. It is comforting to know that the planetary hierarchy is more powerful than black magicians. Why? Because they can call on powers that are well above their pay grade. Unfortunately, so can the black magicians. But that is one rabbit hole I do not wish to enter here. The hierarchy are hamstrung in one major way. They must obey the laws of life. The black magicians do not have to do this. So it ends up that these two opposing forces are evenly matched. It should be noted that black magicians are not just a bunch of egotistical rebels. They have a structure and organization like the mafia to preserve power. They are under constant surveillance by the planetary hierarchy. Their activities are restricted to being the agents of bad karma. Think about that for a moment. Remember back to my equation. Bad karma equals beneficial evil minus providing motivation through resistance to moving onwards and upwards through pivotal challenges. Strange to think of evil as beneficial. It may be for us, who need reminding that we need to keep working at raising our consciousness. However, I do not think that the forces of evil are doing this out of the kindness of their hearts. I have had debates with esotericists who claim that these forces of evil are only there for our benefit. They are not. They are there for their own benefit. It is just that the lords of karma and the agents of destiny are not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. We have to remember, the amount of influence these agents of bad karma have over us is our choice. The more bad karma we have, the more influence they have. Another simple equation. They are masters of subtle manipulation. They control people without them even knowing it. They are the true evil genie, evil geniuses if you will. These are the jinn and genies of mythology. When the solar system comes to the end of its life, it goes through a process of dissolution. This involves every molecular state from subplane 7 to subplane 2 dissolving back into their atomic state. Remember, when I say atomic, I am talking about the one subplane at the top of each plane of matter. For the emotional plane, that would be the 48-1 level of matter. All the molecular subplanes below this one on the emotional plane are made of clusters of this primary atom of the plane. Can you see where the problem is going to arise? Subtle bodies of black magicians, as well as humans, are only composed of molecular matter. They dissolve when the solar system itself dissolves. Just like the way we sleep in our causal bodies between incarnations, the solar system also has a lengthy period of sleep. Everything within the system goes to sleep until a new solar system is formed. During this time of sleep, the black magician is not able to practice their black arts. During their period of sleep, it is said they realize the errors of their ways and re-enter the evolutionary cycle in the next solar system. However, there is a catch. Unlike humans, who store their memories in their causal bodies, this includes the permanent atoms 48-1 and 49-1 and the permanent molecule 47-4, the black magician has no causal body. This causal body can go into the extended sleep of the solar pralaya, under the guardianship of the solar angel. When the new solar system comes back into being, the black magician's monad is still there. Why? Because it is immortal. However, it has absolutely no memory of its entire journey through the solar system from the time it was in the mineral kingdom. Just wrap your head around that for a moment. Everything gone. The monad now needs to work its way back through these three lower kingdoms of nature, one by one. That is an awfully long time. What a waste. Just because they thought the quickest way to become a god was to aggrandize their own egos. So, they start the long haul of acquiring a new etheric, then a new emotional, and finally a new mental body. It is safe to say, becoming a black magician sets one's evolution back billions of years. It is part of esoteric lore that at the end of the last solar system, 6 black magicians found a back door that enabled them to escape destruction. They were somehow able to jump from the mental plane 47 to the cosmic mental plane 29 to 35. Why should this worry us? Because these cosmic black magicians have now had billions upon billions of years to perfect their black arts. They are able to direct their energies towards their compatriots on Earth. This is why the Black Lodge is more powerful than it would have been. All because a bunch of 6 rebellious ex-humans. It may not surprise you that no information has been released by the hierarchy regarding how or why this was possible. We have not got a clue why these individuals managed to end up straying so far from the right-hand path. One thing you can rest assured though, it is all part of the divine plan. If you wish to read a transcript of the presentation or leave comments, links to my website are in the description box below. Thank you.